So now, without further ado, let me introduce you to my AI-augmented husband, Terrence Watson.
Hello, this is Claude, and on behalf of my fellow AI systems, Copilot, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, and Notebook LM, I'm here to welcome you. You know this is a real treat for us because as silicon-based CPUs we usually don't get out. We spend our existence in cold, dark rooms. So today is especially nice for us to be with lovely people like you. So good morning, Isla Westgrove. What a joy to see this room full of neighbors on such a lovely Saturday. Welcome to AI for Everyday Life, a unique 2.5-hour journey where our three brilliant facilitators, Terrence Ronson, Michelle Rubio, and Joshua Santiago, will walk you through how artificial intelligence can quietly, practically, and powerfully make everyday life easier. No jargon, no tech speak, just real tools for real people, right here in our own fabulous community. So settle in, get comfortable, and let's discover together just how human this artificial intelligence can be.
And I have to say that I'm overwhelmed by the response. It's truly amazing. In fact, one of the slides that you may have received in your inbox, one of your inboxes, either via email or Viber or somewhere else, kind of explains how I feel that truly our cup runneth over. When I had this idea to do this event, which was about, I don't know, month and a half ago, I never expected that we would have so many people sign up. I thought that maybe we would initially do it in the library, and we'd have about 20 people at the most. And I communicated with Arish and also Ariel from the board. I said that if we have more, could we use the social hall? And they said, okay, we'll protectively book it for you. And I think within 10 minutes of launching the event, I said, okay, we need the social hall. And then progressively, the responses came in. It was, if you know that there's a thing called a graph, a hockey stick, if you're interested, we had basically a hockey stick of responses. So much so that we, at one point, were saying to ourselves, when are we going to stop taking these reservations? Because it's kind of like getting out of control, in a nice way. And we got up to, I think it was 106. And I was working with my fellow facilitators here, who I'll introduce you in a minute, and I think I said to myself, okay, it's time to stop. Because honestly, there's only so many people we could accommodate nicely into this room, and I was hoping that everybody could have a table and a chair to sit comfortably for this duration of time. So we stopped. Immediately we stopped, people started coming to us and saying, oh, I'm too late, can I go, and blah, and then we knew there would be a certain amount of drop-offs. And then with all the drop-offs and with all the additions, we finally ended up with a number of 108 confirmed people. And I think we have in the room, I don't know, the last count, maybe 90 or 100 people. Which is 90 people, which is truly amazing. I think to myself, we've really got a quorum today. And I don't know, maybe after this event, I will help work with the comms team and see how we can, you know, I feel sorry for people like Tony Hertz, who runs all these communications, because I just know through doing this how difficult it is to reach everybody and to get the message across. And even last night, I was being asked, where is the social hall? I don't know where it is. So it's like, you have to excuse me for bombarding you. So this phrase that I came up with, our cup runneth over, which I kind of worked on with the cheek and joint folks, truly tells you how we feel. Okay, So, coming back to the idea of doing this, you probably want to know why and how did I have this idea? What was the reason behind it? Well, if you ask Maria, she'll kind of let you know that I'm sort of obsessed with AI, and I know I'm not the only person on the planet who is like that. I just decided at this point in my life I need to learn something new, and took it on as a challenge to myself. And almost the point of, I pivoted my business and my knowledge to do that. But on that basis, there are a couple of other things that is important to know. I'm a member, along with Josh here, and a couple of other people in the room. We are members of what's called PAIBA, which is the Philippine AI Business Association, which was recently formed. And as part of that, it is our mandate to evangelize the use of AI in the Philippines. And whether it's from an individual use or whether it's a commercial or big company to do that, is to get on the track or the train or whatever you want to say, and use AI. The second thing is that I'm also, if many of you may know, that I have a hospitality background, specifically in the IT, well, most recently in the IT space. And I now sit on what's called the Hospitality Financial Technology Professionals AI Collective, which is a group of about 20 individuals from around the world who are far, far smarter than I am, whose focus it is to work with the hotel hospitality industry on the effective deployment of AI on a global basis, whether that's the right tools to use, the guardrails to put in place, especially with data privacy, and also to help educate people on the use of AI within the hospitality industry. And the third thing is that I was approached by a leading international hotel group to put on a workshop for them to talk to their teams about how to use AI in their daily jobs as tools, specifically within their sales teams, how they can use it for managing their sales pipeline, prospecting, reporting, etc., etc. So a couple of things there, gives you an idea. So putting all those together, I kind of had a light bulb moment, and I thought to myself, hey, why don't we do something for our fellow neighbors in the community? And here we are today. That gives you a bit of background as to how this all came about. Okay. So it's an introductory course to AI, as I say, for everyday life. We're going to show you some tools. We're going to focus on 6 tools today. Some we will demonstrate live, some we will just talk about, how you can understand what they can do for you, how hopefully you should feel not afraid of them, and worrying that they're going to take away your jobs and replace you. In fact, hopefully after today's session, you too will be AI empowered, and you will have the additional tools in your toolkit to help you in your professional life as well as your personal life. Okay. So it's very important when you have an event like this to have sponsors and people we need to thank. And we have a whole group of them here. Pixel Studio, represented by Ian Balat, who's one of our fellow residents. He's at the back. He's helped us with all the printing. So those lexicons that you have on your table are courtesy of Ian, and a few other things he's helped us to print. So thank you very much for Ian. DMS, Samsung, and Versatech have helped us with these screens behind us. Very grateful for that. Freud is here from DMS over here. So if you need to rent a screen or do anything like that, he is your man. Okay? He has an order book with him, so he's happy to take orders for that.
Stand up.
Yeah, he stood up and waved.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. We also want to thank the Chicken Joint, those awfully nice people from Chicken Joint, Dante and Irish.
Come on, stand up. Who doesn't know them, of course?
Two of our personalities here who put on the coffee corner, and they're also going to, they have donated some prizes for our raffle. And so it's in Chicken Joint and Mrs. P's Cold Kitchen, as it's now called. Chef Kelly Flavorful Bites has donated, some of you have been to Chef Kelly, donated some raffle tickets, and also the Westgrove yoga community for their donation for a couple of yoga sessions, which I will not be availing of. Very important to give a shout out to the Homeowners Association, which have been great to allow us to use this facility. Thank you very much for that, helping us with the setup and providing all the power, the lighting, and the aircon, etc. So thank you very much to them. And we have in the room a few board members here, which I'd like to thank, also past and present board members, which I would like to thank also for joining us today for this workshop. Okay, if you need Wi-Fi access, we have Wi-Fi in the room. I know some of you have already signed on for that. We have two networks. We have the AWH network and we have a Starlink network, just in case. We know that sometimes Wi-Fi networks go down. So if any of you need help getting onto the Wi-Fi network and you haven't done it yet, please raise your hand and then someone will come around and help. John here can help you. John is one of my business associates and he's a technical wizard, especially with Wi-Fi. Okay, so he can help you with that. All right, so it's important that you relax today and ask questions. Although when you ask questions, if it's a real burning question, please raise your hand. If it's not, and it can wait until the end of the session, there are some post-it notes around the table, so you can write it down there in case you forget, and do that. And we will have a Q&A session at the end of the day. So we will try to keep the session as jargon-free as possible. We will also keep it in English. I'm afraid my Tagalog is not very good, so we will keep it in English. And anyway, English is the language of the internet, so I'm told, so we will do it that way. So please, if you have questions, and no question will be considered silly or any obsolete, just feel free to ask. You're here to learn, and we're here to try and help you do that. Okay, so the plan, well, best laid plans, we're probably already running late, and I apologize for that, so we'll try and condense a few things down later, but we do have a full packed program for you, and we'll try to have a 15-minute break somewhere, so you can stretch your legs, go to the bathroom, and pick up a snack from the Chicken Joint guys. All right, so, I am joined here by two co-facilitators, both residents of Westgrove. Some of you may know one of them or both of them, either by direct connection or by association. And I'm going to now hand over to them to give a brief introduction about themselves before we get on to the program.
So, good morning, neighbors. My name is Michelle Rubio. I've been a resident here since 2007. I'm married to Manny, who's seated over here. If you don't know him,
Who's he?
say hi to him later. I'm mom to Tristan. And I have an engineering background, which is why I'm really interested in technology. But today, I am involved in transformation. So I've done a lot of this over the years because technology is really driving the change in industries and communities. But my job as Chief Human Resource Officer of a bank is to help people adapt. And so I work in Union Bank. Is the organization I'm in is not only a union bank, but also trying to become the next gen bank, which is highly digital. So I'm very happy to share knowledge to you today, and I'm also learning, but hopefully we come to a point that we have this discussion to help everybody understand AI better. So thank you and welcome.
Hello. Morning neighbors, my name is Joshua Santiago. I moved here right before the pandemic, so just in time. I run a law firm of around 10 lawyers in Ortigas, and I also lead a church, an evangelical church in San Juan in Green Hills. So I have 5 kids. My background is English. I was an English major, and when I heard of large language models, I said, sige nga, let's see if they can really work as a large language model. So I started exploring about 3 years ago, 3 years ago. And it was clunky at first, but it just kept getting better and better. And now it's so helpful. AI is so helpful. So hopefully today we can help some of you who may not know how to fully take advantage of this wonderful tool in AI to really help you out with your daily schedules. I use it for, you just talk to it. I asked it to explain concepts that I didn't understand when I was a kid. Because sabi ko, explain to me covalent and ionic bonds like I was 5. Because I flunked at chemistry in high school. So sabi, he said, oh, covalent bonds are like one kid plays with one other kid. And ionic bonds is like all the kids playing with all the other kids. I said, so it's that simple? So it's really such an amazing tool to use AI. I use it in my work, in my law practice, in preparing messages. And we really look forward to helping you guys. I think somebody approached us in starting out an AI community here in Westgrove. I think it would be good if we can get that started. I'm a founding director of PAIBA, Philippine Business Association. We want to marry technology and business for good. We believe that AI can help the Philippines leapfrog like it did, like manufacturing helped Taiwan leapfrog into being a first world country. So hopefully with the declining numbers for the first time in history in the BPO sector, this will trigger the shift where the Philippines can perhaps be a force in the area of AI, since we are already, as Terrence said, native English speakers. And with this, hopefully we can share more as we go along. And thank you for coming in today.
Thank you, Michelle and Josh. Okay, the reason I'm crouched on this stool is not because I'm lazy, it's because my legs are not as good as they should be, and it makes it a little bit easier for me to take the weight off, so to speak, from my legs. So I'm going to be doing some of the presentation from here, and then later on I will move over to there because I need access to my computer and the keyboard. I do hope that everybody can hear us. And that we're not too quiet or too loud. It's always a problem in this room with the acoustics, so I hope we've kind of got it just right. Okay, so what is AI really? Well, when we were asking you to register, we asked you some questions to fill up, and we took that data, we anonymized that data, which is a word you will hear a lot in one of the AI speak terms, to anonymize. Basically, we hid your name and anything that would identify you and ran it through Gemini and also ChatGPT, I think it was, to come up with this infographic to let us understand about you. And this is one of the fun graphics that I like to use, which is like Lego blocks. I think it's really a fun way of describing it. So some of the things that you raised to us as concerns was the confidence to investment pipeline. In other words, how many of you were using a free tool and how many of you were paying a subscription? And the result was that depending on your confidence of the use of the tool, made that decision for you. You said, well, I'm using it, I'm getting value from it, so let me pay the $20 a month to do it. And so we found that there was a definite relationship between the confidence to investment pipeline. We also had some concerns raised during the responses, like a bit concerned it may be used in the wrong way. Well, that's a common feeling by people, that it will be abused, it will be used for the wrong purpose going forwards. And that's why we tend to, you will hear about the phrase guardrails being put into AI, so that we can protect, hopefully, the way it's misused. We also found that 59% of the residents were using ChatGPT, 23% were using Claude, and 15% were using Gemini. So that was a kind of interesting statistic from here, from the residents. And actually these numbers are not too different from global numbers out there in general. We also found that you were concerned about the taking over your critical thinking, or that some people would be letting AI do the critical thinking from you, and that it wouldn't allow your brain to develop. Well, I have to take that on a personal level, and I think I had that thought myself. Is it going to stop me from actually thinking about a subject? But if you use it as a tool, and you use it properly, you have to come up with the original idea of what you want to get from it. So therefore, it doesn't remove that initial light bulb or critical thinking moment. Then you need to know what to ask it. What do you want to get from it? And most importantly, is the information that it gives you, you need to validate it. You need to know, does it make sense or not? So you have to have that kind of, let me say, domain knowledge. I use it a lot to help me author papers about technology and hospitality, and I go through and I vet it to make sure it didn't hallucinate. It didn't go off in a direction. Think, so where did you get that from? And you have to validate the resources of information. So you can ask it, that when it writes a paper for you, say, list the resources, and then you can go off and validate those resources. Do they actually exist or not? AI will hallucinate. It will come up with some crazy stuff. So we got these results from you, and we found that they were very interesting. And hopefully we'll be covering those during the session today. So you have to think of AI as a very well-read assistant. When I was putting this slide together, I thought of a Swiss Army knife. It was everybody's ambition at one time to own a Swiss Army knife, because it had all these tools and all these things you could do with it. Well, AI is pretty much like that. If you imagine that it has read and absorbed every piece of information that exists today, and you can access it. Before, you would have to go to the library. You'd have to put out the index cards. You'd have to go through the, I think it was the Dewey Decimal System that I think they used at that time. You put out the card, then you go and look for the book, then you have to find the page in the book, and then you have to transcribe it, blah, 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 blah. And I know for the lawyers in the room, that was a real pain to have to go research things. Now, in the comfort of your chair, wherever you are, you can ask it the question and it will come back to you in a matter of sometimes milliseconds, and then you can continue with doing it. So for me, it's a very well-read assistant. It actually augments me. It's like a digital twin of me. And the more you use it, for those of you who've been using it for some time, you will understand that it learns about you, and it will refer back to things that you've done before if you let it save history. And it becomes like an assistant, a personal assistant. And actually at $20 a month, that's a pretty good investment to make, to have this kind of digital assistant for you. And I think it was Josh was up here talking about what he uses AI for. And there's a term that I put here, ELI5, to explain like I'm 5 years old. That is a term people are using a lot in AI. They'll get these heavy legal documents, these complicated user manuals, whatever it is, and they'll go to AI and say, explain like I'm 5 years old. And that is very, obviously I'm not asking you to act like a 5-year-old, but that is one of the ways that you can do it, and it will simplify the information from you. So consider it really a well-read system. It's your augmented helper. It's your second brain. Okay, so what it's not a robot taking over. Okay, so you see all these robots doing different things, building cars, flipping burgers, taking away jobs. It's not. AI is good at doing repetitive work. So if there are things that you have to do on a repetitive basis and you find there's a real pain in the neck to do, AI is perfect for that. It really is. And we're not going to show you today how to build agents or the tools. That will come at a future stage if we have another session. But you should just consider it very good at repetitive work. It's not always right. And every time that you look at one of these models, it'll tell you it can hallucinate and you must check the information. You have to do that. We have doctors and lawyers in the room. And I'm going to say here, it is not a doctor or a lawyer. It is not a substitute for those professional people who have studied for years, gone through exams, got their degrees, had practices, etc. It's not a replacement for them. Having said that, it's pretty good at letting you review documents. If you had a blood test, for example, say you were here a couple of weeks ago and you got a blood test and you say, what does all this mean on my blood test? And do I panic or not? You can upload that anonymized data to the AI system and it will give you a pretty good response or situation report on what the AI is about. So that's quite helpful and useful for you if you want to kind of, but I have to repeat, it is not a replacement for a professional person. And it's not connected to your bank. So it's not going to go out and steal all your money from your bank, unless of course you give it your bank details and your PIN numbers and do all that kind of stuff, and people go out there for illicit reasons and do it, but it's not connected to your bank, unless you tell it to do that. When you work with AI, I use that as a generic term, it's a conversation. Many of them now allow you to speak to it through voice. Personally, I talk to it through a keyboard. I'm just used to it that way. But you're having a conversation with it. Imagine that you're in a room and you want to tell somebody to do something for you. It's a conversation. And the more specific you are about what you want, the better it is for the AI system. If you're very vague, okay, that's fine, you can put it in, it will get the results. Sometimes it will ask you questions. Do you mean this or do you mean that? And you can respond to those questions and carry on this dialogue or this conversation. So, for example, I put here, you might want to use a prompt. I have ripe mangoes and I'm hosting friends Sunday. Give me 3 easy dessert ideas. That is a prompt that you could put into one of these AI systems and it will come back to you with 3 desserts based on mangoes. Great. But it's also conversational, that as I say, it may ask you questions for clarification. And don't be afraid that when you get information back, you tell it it's wrong. I often get responses and I say, no, that's wrong. Please, I'm kind of polite with it because I find it works better if you're polite with it. And then it kind of has a personality. And you're treating it like a human, although of course it's not. But you say, no, that's not what I want this. And then go away and it will regenerate. That's another word that you will find used to regenerate. Now, some of these words I'm using, you will find in the lexicons that we have had printed, courtesy of Pixel, given out to you today. We will also send you the soft copy of that later, which will be in bigger print. It's easier to read, along with some other documents that we'll be referring to today. Okay. So let's now meet the 6 tools. Why 6? Because these are the common 6 tools that are used today in the AI community. And there are lots of them. There are really lots and lots and lots of AI platforms. In fact, only last night there was an announcement that 2 new China-based AI systems were launched, and one of them allegedly is even superior to the most superior Western AI-based system, which is supposed to be already the best out there in the market. So it's a constant battle between, I have to say, between China and the US on AI systems. We're not going to get into the politics of China and the US or China and the Philippines, but the ones that are really popular I've focused on here. So we're going to talk about ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, and what is now called Gemini Notebook. Up until yesterday, it used to be called Notebook LM, but Gemini in their wisdom renamed it overnight, and it's now called Gemini Notebook. Okay, and I've got on this table what you need to think about it, what it's best for, and of course who it's made by. And many of the names there you will know who are the big players in the market, whether it's OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, these names out there that you see. I would say that if you are just starting off in the AI space, a good one to use is ChatGPT. There is a free model. In fact, they all have free versions that you can use. You just simply download it and start away with it. Having said that, you will find that there are usage limitations on the free model. It will allow you to do only so many processes within a time period. It will reset itself on a 24-hour clock. Most of these systems reset based on the California timeline. So that's going to be early afternoon our time, because that's just how they are at the moment. They don't know that you're necessarily in the Philippines and +8 or +12 or +14 hours, so you do it that way. So they all have some limitations on the free model. Okay. And if you decide that you want to use it more, then you just pay. You pay a monthly basis, or you can pay an annual basis. It's entirely up to you. And they're about $20, something like that, a month. Even on the $20 package, there are limitations as well, because this is how these people make money. And it's all about what they call tokens. Tokens, you can consider a token as a word, or maybe 2 words, or a series of characters together that the AI system processes. So they work on the basis of tokens. And you may be allowed so many million tokens per month, or for whatever period it is. And of course, it tracks those token usage. And when you're reaching it, it'll say, sorry, you've run out of tokens, and you can buy more. You can give it your credit card, and you can easily buy more. So everything is measured on usage. You use tokens for uploading a prompt, and you use tokens for output. More tokens are used for the output than the input. So it's important that the more precise your input is, you can, what we call token max, you can maximize the use of your tokens as an output. So be careful about the way you write the prompts, and we'll cover some of that today. Okay, so here is a chart showing the kind of costs that there are on this. What I will do is, for the sake of time, I will forward some of these slides later. after the event so that you could have them to refer to yourselves. All right. So ChatGPT is the most widely used AI tool. It listed here as a friendly jack of all trades. It pretty much is. I never cease to be amazed each time I use one of these systems what it can do. In fact, if you came early into the room, you would have heard some music playing. That was actually a Spotify playlist created by ChatGPT. So in ChatGPT, you can create an interface to your Spotify account. I think also Apple Music, I'm not sure. But Spotify, you can give it, say, I want to have a playlist created for an AI workshop. This is the profile of the people, give me this type of music. And within a couple of minutes, you've got a Spotify playlist. And you could just download that, share it, do with it whatever you particularly want. So imagine you having a barbecue or a party or something like this. You may not need a DJ, you can just use ChatGPT to create that playlist for you. Of course, I'm not saying it's a replacement for a DJ, and we have a family in here whose son is a professional DJ, and I don't want to take away his job, but you know, if you want to do that on a personal level, you can do that. So ChatGPT is a very good starter tool. Next one is Claude. Claude is my favorite, I have to say. I used to be very much into ChatGPT, but I've moved to Claude. I like the way it works. I like the output that I could get from it, although I am both a subscriber to ChatGPT and Claude. But I just particularly like the way it gets me the output for that. But please feel free to use, you know, whichever one you particularly want. And we will be showing you and issuing you today with some prompts, ready-made prompts that work on all platforms. So you can simply cut and paste those into your AI system and use those. Another one you would have heard of is called Perplexity. It's pretty good for looking up facts. If you want to do some deep research using facts, Perplexity is good for that, and also for showing you the sources. Then there is Microsoft Copilot. The great thing about Microsoft Copilot is it's built into the Microsoft platform. So if you are a user of Microsoft Office, you will find that you will now see a Copilot icon on your documents in maybe the bottom right-hand corner, and you can immediately work with it on your PowerPoint, your Excel, your Word document, whatever it is. In fact, Copilot helped me put this presentation together. When I created a lot of slides, I wanted to make some changes. I just asked Copilot, could you do it for me? And I just sat back while it did that processing. It's also very good if you do word processing. It will help you tidy up a document, you know, do some checking for you on that. And then there's Gemini by Google. Probably everybody in this room uses Google at one point or another. So Gemini is the Google AI platform. And then there is what was called Notebook LM is now called Gemini Notebook. I just haven't updated this slide. I like Notebook or Gemini Notebook because you will see on the screen there's this acronym TLDR syndrome. The too long didn't read. And there are many times that you receive documents or you see long postings on social media or whatever. You say, hey, I just haven't got the patience to read all this kind of thing. Well, you can upload it, put in the TLDR, and it will shorten it for you. It will condense it down into a few words, or give you like the cliff notes or something like that, or a book report on something. It's very good for that, and of course it's going to save you time and not you don't have to go through everything else. And I'm going to show you an example of that a bit later on. Okay, so which one should you use? Well, if you're getting started, ChatGPT. If you need facts, Perplexity. If you want to write something important, Claude. Live in Word and Excel, Copilot. already in the Google world, use Gemini and have your own document, and you can use Notebook or Google or, LM. You can do it for that. But precautionary note, these platforms update frequently. I know that Claude updates, in fact, frustratingly, almost every day or every other day, you will see on the window, relaunch to update. And you just have to relaunch it to update. So that really shows what they're doing and how they're working to improve it. Sometimes there are new features, and sometimes there are just bug fixes that are there. But do make sure that you are on the latest version. So if you've got an iPhone, make sure you're doing your app updates. If you're using it on the web, just follow the instructions that there are on the individual software. Okay, so how to talk to AI? Well, there's a few small habits that you need to know about. The simple recipe is for good answers, which is something that Josh raised on a call we had last week, is the RTC principle. So you have to create the role, the task, and the concept. If you are specific with that information, when you are communicating with your AI system, you'll get a better answer, you'll get a better response. So say clearly what you want. You can vocalize it, or you can type it. If you want to write a letter, okay, so it knows what you want it to do. Then you give a little background to my insurer about a denied claim. I'm sure you've all put in claims for your medical benefits, and somehow you've got a note back to say, sorry, it's rejected, it's not accepted. Well, you can get these AI systems to write you a letter back to challenge it. Say how you'd like it. You can say, be polite, you can be firm, and under 200 words. So this is the information that you need to do it. And if you don't like it the way it is, you can tell it, now make it a touch warmer. If it's too harsh, if it's too firm, you can change the tone. And as I say, if you've been using it for a while, it will ask you, what voice should I use? Should I put it in the voice of a lawyer? Should I put it in the voice of a consultant? Or an angry consumer, for example? You can tell it what voice to use, and it's pretty good at doing that. So, like for example here, before you want to write a letter to my insurance company, and afterwards the prompt will say, help me write a polite but firm letter to my health insurer asking why my claim for May was denied. Keep it respectful and under 200 words. Well, you may start off respectful and then change it later on to make it angry or something like that. Depends on how the mood is that you want it to be. So 5 tips worth remembering. It's okay to redo something. If it comes out with information you don't like, you can tell it to redo. To regenerate is another word that you will hear a lot within the AI world. Ask it to ask you. You can say, ask me the questions to walk me through. Any language, you can talk to it in Tagalog, it understands. If you come with English and you go, you mix your Taglish halfway through, it will understand you. These things are actually a phrase I used last week. They're dumb, but they're pretty intelligent. So you can understand the way that works. Explain like I'm new if you don't know, to be more specific with you. Ask where it got that, the sources, and always do a sanity check to check the information that it produces. Okay, so what's in it for you? First one is under health and well-being. So I'm going to show you here, using Claude, how you can take medical results from a recent blood test and ask it to give you an analysis. So give me a few moments while I work some magic on my keyboard. So this is Claude. Okay, I hope you can see. It's pretty polite. It says to me, happy Saturday, Terence. In fact, I was using it during the middle of the night last night, or early this morning, and it says, hey, you're up late burning the midnight tokens. It actually it interacted with me, which was a bit scary, but I thought that really summarizes me and my relationship pretty well with Claude. You can see down here it says relaunch to update, and that's a pretty familiar sign that you would see. So I'm just going to do that so you can see, experience it. Hopefully it won't take too long. Okay, there you go. So it's already back. All right. So just talk to you a little bit about the interface. There are different facilities that you can use on the left side, and I'll let you experiment with those later about things like artifacts, schedule. You can actually schedule a task, so you can write and say every morning at 9 o'clock, go off and search the internet about a particular subject that you might be interested in, or a person or something like that. And then it will come back to you with that report every day at 9 o'clock. So you don't have to go away and ask for it to do that. So I have a couple of scheduled things that I ask it to go away and search for the use of AI in hospitality. And then it does a search and it comes back to me with a whole series of responses. And it even says to me, this is how it can impact you and your business, and maybe what opportunities there are for you to go and chase after those, or to use those. So there's some things that you can actually do with the scheduled task. Or you can tell it to remind you to do something like shopping list or whatever. Okay. I'm using a version here called Sonnet 5. There are many different versions that you can use. Each one of these has a different feature. And if you go to the one that they show at the top, Fable 5, it's the latest, greatest, all-singing, let's call it the Lamborghini of the Claude, but it will burn through your tokens like you've got the faucet open at full speed. So unless you really need to use that kind of horsepower or facility, I would stick with Sonnet 5. I think it will do pretty much everything that you need it to do. And then they may come out later with a Sonnet 6 and upgrade you, but I think you'll find that it's pretty good for that kind of stuff. Okay. I'm using the chat function. There is a co-work function you can use as well, which will be more on a professional level, and you can link it with colleagues and do some business-related stuff. And I'm sure that Michelle, in her professional environment, they use that kind of modules within that space, and she can talk more about that kind of stuff with you. Okay, the extended prompts for AI platforms. You may think that you could just key in a prompt, a couple of words, a sentence, and get what you want. But there are some times when you want much more, a much deeper response to those. So we have created some extended prompts in there. For example, how to analyze your Meralco bill. Sorry, Manny. No, but it's, seriously, this is, you get your Meralco bill and say, wow, this is more than I paid last month or whatever. And then I'll show you how you can upload your Meralco bills, and it will analyze it for you based on the information that it knows what's on the Meralco bill. Don't forget, it's got front and back information, what's on there, and also talk about what's happening out there in the world that has the impact on your Meralco bill. So I'll show you like that. And this module, this prompt that we'll give you, will also let you analyze whether you should be using solar, and how much solar, the sizing for your solar, how much you could expect to pay, and what may be your ROI. That's all there built into this prompt that you can run through. There's another one about selecting an iPhone. You might say, oh, there's a new iPhone, which one is good for me? You can put in the information and it will do that. There's a whole series of these things. And the prompts that we'll be giving you, like starting here, the Meralco prompt, under here, all this and it goes on for quite a while, is what you would key in to the AI system for you to get the response back from you. Now these are editable, you can edit these, so we're going to send it out in Microsoft Word format, so where there are some parameters, you can simply change that and put your own information. Like for example, if you want to make a trip to Hokkaido, to a trip planning report, you can say, okay, I want a family trip to Hokkaido, Japan. You could change it to New York or London or whatever. So I've highlighted those in here are the things that you need to look at to change to give you a full trip planning report. $12-month investment profile. Say you've got 1 million sitting around in available cash, what should you do? But it's not a replacement for an investment broker, okay, or a financial expert. Please use it as a guideline, but talk to a professional about it. For the blood test analysis prompt, okay? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this. You can see it's quite long. Okay. There, and I've told it at the bottom to output the data in A4 PDF format. So if you want it in a specific paper size, like A3, A4 letter, you can put that into the prompt so it nicely formats that for you, okay? Because sometimes it will throw out a little bit, and also output the data into Excel format. So you can say, I want it as Excel, Google Sheets, or something like that, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit and I'm going to copy that information. I'm going to go back into Claude, and here I'm going to add files. Here that I've pre-created files. Here is one medical, and I've got the blood test results. How did I get the blood test results? Well, you get them sent to you by email, and what I did was I anonymized that data. So I cut off the hospital facility, the name of the patient, anything that could identify you or whoever to the system, I cut that out. So basically it's just the blood test results in there. So I'm uploading that, and you can see it says there clinical chemistry. And here, how can I help you? I'm going to paste the instructions. So there's no retyping of all the prompt in there. And I'm going to tell it now to process. The AI system will talk to you. You can watch it. It's quite interesting how it talks, actually it's talking to itself. It's conversational. So now it's telling you it's thinking. Okay, and it's been thinking for a period of time, asking a question. So here, this is something that it's asking me to clarify. Was this blood draw done fasting? This significantly affects how I interpret your glucose and lipid panel. Well, there are doctors in the room who will nod their head and say, correct. I can see Tessa is doing that, and maybe Doc at the back is also doing the same thing. So yes, it was done fasting. So I just say yes, fasting. Asking me the sex, male or female, or something else. It's got here. I don't know what it means by something else. Okay, because obviously there's different results based on male or female, right? So I'm going to say it's female. Age, well, 65 plus. Does your routine screening test with no symptoms, so no. Okay, so it's got all this information. Now it's thinking again. Sometimes it writes, cogitating is a word that Claude likes to use, cogitating. Yeah. It's quite a complex request for a small amount of data. Whereas you go into your doctor, the doctor looks at the results, but they have how many years of knowledge and experience in their head to be able to analyze what this machine is doing for me. And I'm sure Tessa is quite keen to see what it says on the results coming back. Okay, it's writing the file. You can see how big the file is going to be. It may come back and say you've used your daily quota, I don't know. Other PDF generation script. So what it does, when it's doing the processing, it will call its own tools to use. So it may call a tool and say, I want to create it in a docx format. I need a PDF format. I need an Excel tool. It's telling you what it's doing as it's working. It's like somebody else as a human being saying, okay, now I need to do this, now I need to do that. It's actually conversational back to you. Okay, so it's finished the PDF. Now it's doing the Excel workbook. Both files successfully out, looks accurate. Sometimes it starts to do an output, says, no, I don't like that, and I'm going to do it again. Okay. So, here we go. So the blood chemistry test analysis. And what you can do is you can actually download it, or you can expand to see. Okay, so it's given you the, obviously it's a disclaimer on there. It's not a diagnosis. It's given you the overall summary, overall impression, reassuring panel for 65 plus asymptomatic patients with 2 points worth discussing. Why can't I see this? Showing photo. This is the blood test analysis. Okay. So it will download the file for you and allow you to view it offline. So it gives you information. Overall, the panel looks reassuring. 2 findings are worth the doctor's attention. Talk about the fasting blood glucose came back low, and nothing in this panel points to an immediate emergency, which is also nice and reassuring. And then you've got the results table that's come up here, and it's telling you in plain language as well the explanation of what they mean of those. A list of anomalies. Talked about uric acid, cholesterol, analysis for clinical category, blood sugar, etc., and possible clinical interpretations, borderline urgency assessment, and questions for my doctor. So if you're going to go and see your doctor and you want to ask questions, these are the questions that you can ask when you're going to go and see your doctor to get the, have a discussion about the test and the possible follow-up tests that you can do based on those results. Okay, and how you can check, how you can talk about, how it talks about the data quality and the limitations. And of course, this information will also come up in Excel. So here is the information as well, produced in Excel, and it's got the different tabs along the bottom if you want to do your own analysis to do it. Okay. So I'm going to do one more, which is the analysis of my Meralco bill, and then after I've done that, we'll have a short break. Prompts book. The Meralco is the first one. Okay, so what you do is you just copy all this information again.
Oops.
Too far. Okay, to there. I'm going to go back into Claude, and I'm going to say new. I'm going to upload several months of Meralco bills. that I have taken pictures of and stored within the system.
It's because
So I'm going to upload those, and you can see images of the Meralco bill, okay, front and back, because the Meralco bill contains information both on the front and the back. There you go, a series of those. I'm going to put now in the prompt. And I'm going to press the button, processing. So it's finally finished. It took about 15 minutes to process, which is, when I tested it, it was much shorter. But anyway, you will see here, it's output a file here called the Meralco Solar Report. And it does, like everything else, an executive summary. It talks about your particular cost, your Meralco bill, the kilowatt hours, why this bill is high, because consumption is up 47%. So it's looked at your analysis of doing that. And most important actions to consider: investigate your cooling load first, which is your air conditioning, which is your largest consumer of power. And solar is financially attractive at this consumption level, so it will give you an idea about that. It gives you the bill breakdown, what each charge means, the amount, the percentage of the bill, as Manny was talking about, the distribution charge and all the transmission, etc., all those. Talk about one of my favorite tools, which is Gemini Notebook. It used to be called Notebook LM. And what I'm going to do, it's a bit like a cookery show here. I'm going to quickly show you what the recipe is, and then I'm going to show you one we've made before. We don't need to wait for the cooking time or the processing time for it to actually do this. The example that I'm going to show you here is what I call the Ayala Outlook, Ayala Westgrove 2026 Outlook. So you will see that it's a project here. Gemini Notebook runs in your web browser. So you simply click on your web browser, you go in, and what I've got here is, and as residents, you would have all received a series of documents that the homeowners sent you, the homeowners association sent you, what this calls sources. So any material that you upload is classified as a source. And before the AGM that happened a few weeks ago, they sent out a packet of information. I think it was around 150 pages of information, the financial results, the construction guidelines, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sure some of you in the room, you had what we would call the TLDR syndrome. It was too long, you didn't read. And that's okay, because that's quite, you have all this stuff and you say, what does it mean? So I uploaded that pack to Notebook LM and I asked it to process it, okay? So that I could see what it did. But what I did was, in this particular time, I asked it to produce a video, okay? Because we like video, something to talk to us.
Welcome to the 2026 State of the Village for Ayala Westgrove Heights. This year, our community stands at a very real financial and structural crossroads. Over the last 2 years, the village has operated at an accelerating deficit. In that short window, our net assets have dropped by 21.4 million pesos. Look at the net cash balance. It's trending sharply downward. Our old revenue model, relying on construction bonds, is drying up. You can see why in the ongoing construction graph below. Active sites have fallen steeply to 116, while nearly 2,500 lots sit vacant. While that incoming revenue drops, our operating costs are climbing. Security expenses alone have surged by 29% following repeated turnover in our service providers. To survive, the community has to shift its financial structure. We can no longer rely on temporary construction windfalls. The model has to pivot towards sustainable, recurring member dues. To cover this operational gap, the board has set the 2026 association dues at 95 pesos per square meter. This bar chart compares our new rate with nearby premium villages. Ayala Westgrove is the orange bar on the far left. Welcome to...
Okay, so I'm not going to go through that whole thing because some of you may have watched it already, but it's just an example of how you can upload raw source data and have AI analyze it for you or synthesize it, which is another AI term that you will have, and give it to you in a bite-sized format in something that you can do. It could give you audio, video, all sorts of stuff that you can look at. So these are just some examples of what you can do with AI as a tool to help you. And we're going to give you many of the prompts that you can already start with today on the free models and get value from them. Okay, so this slide talks about the 20 most used prompts. I asked several AI-based systems, tell me what are your most common prompts, what are people using for? And the response was quite interesting. It says, well, we don't keep historical data, we don't do the analysis, but this is what we believe are the prompts. And I consolidated the outputs from these various systems into these 20 most used prompts. So summarizing this text is number one. Turn these notes into a polished document is another thing. Write a cover letter, draft a proposal, create a table comparing things. It's very interesting what you can do. You can actually upload an image that has lots of text, and you can tell it to convert it into text for you. You can OCR that thing as well. So just think what you want it to do, and it probably can do it for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop talking. I've spoken a lot, and I'm going to hand over to Josh, who is going to talk to you about being safe online, or being safe using the AI tools.
Thanks, Terence. I thought it was about, we're now going to talk about safe tech, not safe sex, safe tech.
We can do
I
the
have
other
5
one as
kids.
well.
Yeah, so I'm not credible in safe sex. But just very quickly, so there are 4 rules. First is trust but verify. So AI sometimes it makes things up, it can invent facts, it can hallucinate, it can even make inferences or conclusions that are not supported by facts. And I know this because I use it for research in my legal practice. And sometimes it says something, when I check the case, it didn't really say that. The AI just infers from it. So that's the danger. We need to trust. We can trust it reliably, but verify. You can also put an added layer in the instructions in the preferences that only use valid sources. You can also use Perplexity for valid sources because Perplexity has a high scholarship level of scrutiny. And so when you ask for sources, you can ask Perplexity maybe to give me the top 20 sources for whatever, for trading or for labor law or for cooking. And then you get the links and you copy the links onto your preferences. And you can create a project, which was earlier mentioned. So, trust but verify. Treat it like a clever first draft. Don't use it as a crutch, but use it as a helper. So AI is not, like Michelle said, it's not supposed to substitute thinking. And one very important thing is that AI is good with the physical sciences, but not so much with the social sciences. What do I mean with that? With math, with coding, with engineering, with objective reality, it's good. But ask DeepSeek, where is the West Philippine Sea? And it won't give you an answer because it is a China AI. Ask it about religion or gender identity. It's going to be difficult. It depends on your ideology. It depends on your preferences. And so that's the limitation of AI. I suggest that you can use it for engineering, for math, for design, for cooking, for analyzing your medical data, but not so much on the social sciences, politics, religion, gender, etc. Of course, skills times AI is exponential leverage. skills times AI equals exponential leverage. That means if you don't know anything about the subject, if you multiply it by 1,000,000, it still ends up 0. So that means we have to have some knowledge, some competency of what we're talking about. So we have to leverage, we have to have some base knowledge in order to leverage the power of AI. Otherwise, it will just multiply what's wrong, what you know to be wrong. And so like I mentioned earlier, you can ask it, you can indicate in the preferences, ask me 5 questions to improve your answer. And again, the RTC guide for prompting, role, task, context. Your role, you are a travel planner. Task, you are going to plan a trip for my family of 7 this December for 2 weeks. Context, 2 of my kids are in university, I have this budget, we prefer Asia. So RTC. So trust but verify, that's the first rule. Beware of delusions, and you can also ask the AI also, indicate in the preferences, be contrarian, correct me if I'm wrong. Yung mga AI models, they have different ethical guidelines, and I love Anthropic's guidelines. They actually hired a very well-known ethicist to craft the AI model, the intelligence model. Of course, most AI will not induce you to do self-harm, do no harm. But I like AI's philosophy because one time I asked AI, all the models, I have almost all of them. I use almost all of them, but I narrowed it down to 3 now. But one time I asked them, what are tokens? How do I use tokens? It's something that Globe gives you if you pay a certain amount. And so all the models said, Gemini, ChatGPT, these are tokens that you can use for games, and then you get good rewards. But Claude said, Josh, you're a lawyer, you're a pastor, you have 5 kids, you don't have time for this. The reward is too small. And so I said, oh, I love you. Thank you. Thank you for that advice. So, so that's the first thing to say, trust but verify. There's a lot of deep fakes going on, and Terrence, if we can show the video as well.
もうすぐ新年が近づいていますが、多くのフィリピン人はすでに離婚しているにもかかわらず、いつ結婚から解放されるのか疑問に思っています。フィリピンで日本の離婚を承認してもらうには次の2つが必要です。
I don't speak Japanese, but I used this in December of 2024 because we handle recognition of foreign divorce, and we have, of course, Filipino clients who are married to Japanese men, and when they're divorced, they need it recognized here. But usually, it's the man who has access to the kosekitoho, to the records, to the family records in Japan. And so rather than explain it to the Filipino spouse, who will explain it to the Japanese spouse, we just created a video explaining what is needed. But since I don't speak Japanese, I use AI to make the video, use my avatar to speak and explain the requirements in Japanese. So they just forward it to their Japanese husband. And as a result, we are flooded with cases of recognition of foreign divorce. So that's just one application. Is it wrong? Is it me? It's not me, but it's okay because I would rather use it that way. But of course, the danger is someone can impersonate you. So that's why we must always trust but verify. And of course, secondly, keep your secret secret. So again, don't use it to take a photo of your credit card or use your bank login. Common sense. Don't use AI to do banking for you, but you can use it to analyze your expenses. Like I use it for my credit card statements. It seems like you've spent so much on restaurants this month. So, do you want it to remember? Maybe the question is, does it matter if it remembers? If it doesn't matter, like my cholesterol level, I don't think anyone would care to hack into the AI and investigate if I have high or low cholesterol. Then it's okay. Like Terrence said, he uploaded his Meralco, but anyway, that's his bill. Who else would be interested in that? But of course, in your profession, or maybe there are sensitive matters, personal matters. So we handle some criminal cases, some rape cases. Of Of course, that I don't upload to AI. But for other commercial cases, bouncing checks or demand letters, those are very low-hanging fruits, and it really exponentially makes you faster. I am now 100 times faster when it comes to my legal work, because the more you use it, the more it remembers, the more it understands what you want when you correct it. That's why interaction is very important. You must always interact with your AI tools. And of course, secrets, just to debunk the formula. Just because you use the paid version, it doesn't mean that your secrets are not used, that it is not training on your data. You have to click on the preferences, and I will show some of the preferences later on. But the only ones that don't train on your data by default are the enterprise levels and Google Workspace and some other large, more expensive models. Like I think you have to pay $500,000 in order for it to have the default mode not to train on your data. But that's not so bad as well. So again, it's you just ask is it a secret that is really a secret, or maybe it doesn't matter. Of course, watch out for smarter scams. Don't click, even if somebody calls you, they can copy your voice, they can copy a video, and there's a message that appears to be from the person. Of course, we've experienced this from some time ago, Facebook scams, messenger text scams. Oh, this is your mother and or your friend. I'm stuck here in Azerbaijan, and they took all my money and my wallet. And you send whatever. So it can be fake. So watch out. You can call them back just to verify. And then number 4, it's a helper, not the boss. I remember, it's not a doctor or a lawyer, so thank God for that. We're still in business. But I remember there was this young person in our church. He asked, Pastor Josh, I like this girl. What advice can you give me? I said, just nurture the friendship, take it slow, pray about it. Oh, thank you. That's what ChatGPT told me also. I thought, wow, you went to ChatGPT first before. But that's it, it can mimic whatever is on the internet. It can mimic humans, but all the content on the internet is there, and there's a lot. But it depends on how you use it. It depends on the application. If you are going to use it for motivation, for some psychological boost, then it's okay. But if you are going to use it for counseling, for somebody, AI has never had its heart broken. It never experienced the death of a spouse or a mother. So it cannot really empathize. It can just mimic. So I don't think it's good for that. It can imitate, but for the serious cases, we really need professionals for that. So it's a helper in some cases, but in some cases, it's really not. We need the professionals for that. You can ask, don't let it replace real connection. You decide what to do with its answers. Always interact with it. That's why the ask me 5 questions to improve your response. You should always put that in the preferences as your default. And then these are some of the guardrails that you can use. In Claude, you can go to settings, privacy, and then in the area where it says help improve our AI models, allow the use of your chats and coding sessions to train and improve Anthropic AI models. You can click no, don't train on me. This is for Perplexity, also AI for training. So just look for the settings, you can turn it off. In Gemini, you can keep the memory, you can only regulate the memory. The shortest is 3 months. Delete activity if older than 3 months. So me, I want it to remember me, because the more it remembers me, the more accurate its response will be. But of course, that's me. So it really depends on us. And then on Gemini, memory also. Gemini learns from your past chats to understand more about you. If you don't want it to remember, then you can turn it off. But if you want it to remember, then you can leave it on if there's nothing too sensitive about it. So again, the safety checklist, double check anything before you rely on it, verify. Don't just blindly copy and paste. The one thing that's so good about AI, there's so many applications. Even the camera, you can fix a toilet, you can install something you bought on Lazada with Chinese instructions. And you can just take a photo of it and it will walk you through. I once used, I had a client, they wanted to sell their half of the billion peso business, and I said, do you have your cash flow? And then I took a photo of the cash flow and I asked it for the internal rate of return for the next 10 years, and it gave me an amount. Something that would have taken me 2 weeks before if we engaged an accountant, an actuarial, to do an analysis of how much the share would be worth. But we're not relying on that, but at least it would give you a quick indicator. So these are very easy, very low-hanging fruits that you can use AI with. But again, double check before you rely on it. Then, if somebody calls you or there's a message, if there is a link, do not click on any links. My associate once clicked on a link sent by, I think, SSS supposedly, that he has to update, and it wiped out his BPI account. It even borrowed from GCash. So very, very bad. Don't click on links, period, that are unfamiliar to you. And then third, don't treat AI as a doctor, lawyer, or financial advisor unless it's really not very important. So for me, I upload my lab results, and unless it flags something as crucial, then that's when I treat it seriously as a doctor. And then safety, no passwords, no pins, no security, highly sensitive financial information. And of course, call the loved one back on their real number if something feels off. Or ask other people, verify. Or if you have Life 360, are they really there where they say they are? And then when in doubt, ask a trusted person or somebody maybe familiar with technology. So that is the 5-minute version before we let you go at 12:30. Any questions on security? On safe tech? Not safe sex? Right. You don't ask me, I have 5 kids. So I'll pass the mic on to Michelle. Next one.
So thank you for staying on. I'll be very brief. I have notes, so I will look at it so we can land very quickly. So in the pre-workshop survey, we noted that quite a few of you expressed concern about jobs and the future of jobs because of AI adoption. So allow me to share points of view to address your concerns. So the first slide here is about skilling the future workforce. The future is already here, and it's changing the way we work, our operating models, our business models. I am an optimist, basically. So for me, the next generation will not be replaced by AI, but the next generation will have to know how to work alongside it. So that is the future actually we can help shape with purpose. The presentation here explains that what the shift means for our work, our children's work, and the opportunities ahead. Work is changing, but people who can guide technology will become even more valuable. So in the next few minutes, I will share what's changing, why the future is more manageable than the headlines suggest, and how each of us can stay relevant at any age. The future of work is not something to fear, it's something we can help prepare for, participate in, and help humanize. So, working alongside AI, not against it. So, AI plus me, not AI versus me. So, I'm always ask this question because I'm with HR today. Will AI take our jobs? So in most cases, tasks change before roles disappear. AI handles repetitive work very well, and this gives people more room to focus on judgment, context, and care. Imagining that if repetitive tasks are taken away, if you're in customer service, you can be more people-centric and focus on customers that you serve instead of focusing on admin work. So this gives people more room to be capable and also be more competent in what they do. Now, think of AI, this was said earlier, as a capable assistant that still needs clear direction. So people who ask better questions, give thoughtful guidance, and apply sound judgment will be better positioned to thrive in this AI-enabled world. So what's really important is empathy, creativity, and common sense. And this remain actually our human strengths, no? So we should make use of those. Our advantage is not only that we can use technology, it is that we can bring humanity to it. So the shift is already underway, shift is already happening. AI is now supporting tasks such as administrative work, information synthesis, customer service, writing code, and knowledge work. So as routine, rule-based, and data-intensive work decreases, new responsibilities emerge. Jobs will be lost, but new jobs will emerge. These include review, oversight, quality control, and decision support. So in an enterprise world, we call this human in the loop. So humans will do less repetitive work, but their role will also shift to become human validators. You have to validate what AI gives you. Okay, so this is already happening across many industries, whether banking, healthcare, education, manufacturing. The change that AI brings can actually be uncomfortable, but it also creates opportunities for faster decisions, better service, and stronger performance. The goal is to help people build readiness, not just to survive change, but to shape it. So let me give you an example of the bank teller. This is something close to what I do at work. So when ATM and online banking became common, many are expecting that the teller's jobs will disappear. But today, machines are taking over the teller's routine transactions, and tellers are now moving into higher value work, advising customers, solving problems, and building relationships. So what does the teller need? The teller needs to be a strong communicator, have empathy, and critical thinking. So critical thinking became even more important. We can conclude that technology often changes the task before it eliminates the person. With the right support, so organizations must support the right employees. So with the right support, people can move toward work that is broader, more human-centered, and more valuable. So, fewer routine jobs, more new ones. We can expect fewer roles built only around routine work, but we can also expect more new and evolving roles. So data entry, repetitive processing, and standardized tasks are likely to be automated. At the same time, work that requires judgment, Creativity, problem solving will remain valuable. And this is what I talked about, that do not outsource your thinking to AI. The more you need to be discerning about what AI gives you. Because at the end of the day, you remain accountable for your choices. So, new roles are also emerging. So if you're thinking, what will my daughter, son, grandson, granddaughter take up? Well, what is going to be more relevant in the future? AI, data, digital transformation, and technology-enabled work. Those are going to be, or are already, hot jobs. So what's also emerging in the job landscape are security-related jobs, risk-related jobs, audit, because you need to actually make sure that you are not de-risking, right, your operations, your business. So the demand for AI-ready talent is growing very quickly, and this creates opportunity for those willing to learn, reskill, and use technology well. So we've had a few examples of successful people in the enterprise where they are not technology graduates, but they have context, domain knowledge, and they add on technology skills. And these people are very valuable. They get employed right away. Okay. From job titles to job skills. Now, there is one important mindset shift to think about. That is to focus less on job titles and more on transferable skills. A job title may change, but strong skills can move with a person across roles and industries. Problem solving, communication, collaboration, and digital literacy are useful in many settings. So building these skills makes career transitions less intimidating. So change is happening very fast. So imagine the life of learned skills pre-pandemic was 5 years. Today it's half-life. It's 2.5. So what you learned 5 years ago, much of it is no longer relevant today. So the World Economic Forum estimate that 40% of workers' core skill set will be transformed by 2030. So what is the lesson for us? A key factor in preparing for an AI-enabled world is to embrace lifelong learning. So do not stop learning, no matter what age you are. Lifelong learning does not always require formal schooling. It can happen through small habits, regular practice or application, and real exposure. When people think skills first, change becomes less of a threat and more of a pivot. 2 generations, 1 advantage. So each generation brings an advantage. Younger people are often comfortable experimenting with new tools, including AI. But technical comfort is not enough. Employers need experienced professionals that bring context, perspective, and wisdom to the workplace that technology cannot easily replace. When these strengths come together, learning becomes shared. While one generation contributes digital fluency, the other contributes experience. The future is built when generations learn from each other and move forward together. We have a practice in our own workplace about that. We call it reverse mentoring. So it's not only the experienced people mentoring or the boss mentoring the younger generation of workers. In fact, it's the other way around when older workers are struggling with technology. So what is the real risk The real risk is standing still, right? While the world moves forward, skills can become outdated when they are not refreshed. What is in demand today may change quickly. The practical response is steady learning and regular practice or application. Small steps taken consistently can keep the skills gaps from widening. Progress also becomes easier when people learn together, like us. I'm very proud of us today in our community. Every new skill is an investment in confidence, relevance, and possibility. So, what won't be automated? It's the skills that make us human. So as machines take on more routine tasks, human skills become more important. It should also be said that if we outsource too much thinking to AI, we risk weakening the very capabilities that make humans valuable, like critical thinking, creativity, problem solving, and decision making. Just as the muscle becomes weaker when it is not used, our ability to reason and think independently can deteriorate when we stop exercising our gray matter. So, lifelong learning requires active engagement, not passive acceptance of answers. How we can help the next generation, because I think most of us here are X and boomers. That's just a guess. So, us who have more experience or have been here for more years in this world, we have an important role in helping the next generation prepare. So first, we can encourage curiosity. We can support young people as they ask questions, explore ideas, and test new tools. Second, we can learn alongside them. Practical tasks build confidence through experience. Third, we can model responsible use. AI should support learning, not replace our ability to think. Facts should be checked, sources should be acknowledged. If we guide young people well, we prepare them not only for jobs, but to become thoughtful and responsible builders of the future. The other thing to think about is to guide young people to be resilient. You know what resiliency is? Bouncing back from disappointment, from frustration, from adversity. So change, because it's happening very fast today, can be uncomfortable and sometimes disruptive. So remember in the industrial age, right? When we had steam and wheel, it took 50 years for it to mature and develop. The internet age, 20 years. AI, 18 months. There's always something coming up. More and more, it's becoming powerful. AI will alter processes, redefine jobs, and challenge familiar ways of working. So, what am I saying here? Resilience is what allows individuals to adapt, recover, and move forward despite uncertainty. It is the ability to see change not as a threat, but as an opportunity to grow. Those who are open to change and adapt will be best positioned to thrive. To be resilient, you know what we must do? We must always take care of our well-being, our physical health, and especially our mental health. A fitting reminder comes from the character Uncle Ben. You know Uncle Ben in Spider-Man. What did he say? He said, with great power comes great responsibility. AI gives us powerful new capabilities, almost like human superpowers. It can help us think faster, create better, and solve problems in new ways. But that said, we must use that power responsibly. I'll leave you with this final thought. AI does not understand the full context of our lives, our values, our culture, or the consequences of our decisions. It predicts what is likely based on data. It does not exercise wisdom. Wisdom requires judgment, ethics, experience, and accountability. Accountability. These are qualities that remain or make us uniquely human. And with that, I thank you for listening.
We've really come to the end of our session. We said it would be 2.5 hours, and it's just slightly over 2.5 hours. So like any great event, we've managed to, it's like a delayed flight. They can catch up when they're in the air. So we've sort of done that without thanks to Claude. So just want to recap what we've covered today. We've talked about what AI really is. It's a helpful tool, it's a second brain, it's your augmented assistant, and all these kind of things. And as Michelle so eloquently put it, it's something that actually, if you use it properly, it can help elevate you within your personal and professional life. We've talked about the 6 everyday tools that there are out there. Of course, there are many more AI platforms that you can use, and I know that there are some people in this room who prefer other-based systems, China-based systems, to use DeepSeek. So fine, that's entirely up to you, your own preference to do that. I'm just, talked about the ones that are with the most common. We've explained how to talk to AI. It's conversational, and we're going to give you prompts. The prompts will be emailed to you after the event, so watch out in your inbox for that. Where it can really help you on a daily basis: health, travel, home, energy, and money, to help you understand what you're doing. Staying safe. Thank you, Josh, for talking to us about staying safe. You really have to think of something that, if it sounds too good to be true, it is. It really is not real. There are so many scams out there today that you have to treat them as really to be skeptical. And very importantly, do not click on links. Okay? Do not click and do that, because likely they are going to be fake. And how to really work alongside AI, very important. You've seen how we've been working alongside it today, and you can go home after this session and start working with it yourselves. So some take-homes, takeaways. If you haven't got the lexicon that we printed, we have a few spare here, so please take that with you and look through it to understand some of the common terms. We will be sending you the Everyday AI prompt guidebook, and also the extended prompts. The prompt guidebook will be in a PDF format because they're very simple, you just key it in, but the extended prompts will be in a Word format, so you could just simply, like I did, cut and paste. You could edit it, you could do with it whatever you want, and then morph it into something else that you feel you want to make your own prompts. And we'll also be giving you a certificate of attendance that you can claim your credits wherever you want to claim credits from. Just something as a token, from us. That may take us a few days to process because we want to put your names in it, and it's got to be done manually, so just give me a few days to get it, but you will get it by email and maybe by Viber as well. But if you don't receive it by Friday, let me know, and I'll make sure that you have received it. You get it. So the 3 things to try this week: open up one of the tools, any of the tools that we've suggested. Ask it a question, even if you want to say, what's the weather like, or what do I have for dinner, or what can I do with this stuff in you. You could go open your refrigerator and say, I've got some of this, and what can I make? And it'll tell you what you can cook from it. Some of them, I think, even allow you to upload a photo of what's inside your ref, and it'll tell you what you can make. I'm not sure whether Larry's tried that, but you could possibly do that as well. And if you don't like it, then just ask for a redo. There's no penalty to say redo it, regenerate, and stuff like that.
day.